So I filmed this video and realized while editing it that I never did my introduction. So that's what this is. Hello, I'm Jin, and I'm about to talk about books. Please enjoy. Okay, so I am here to talk about my favorite and my least favorite book that I read in 2025. My goal for the year was 25 books, and I fell miserably short. I read 16, um, although technically 17, technically, but I didn't log the book to Goodreads. So, my favorite out of those 16 and my least favorite out of those 16. I feel like I should start with my least favorite so that way we can end on like a positive note. I don't know, I don't want to end the video on a downer. So the book I least liked was wait. Okay. The book I least liked was Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood. Um yeah. So as a confession, I did not finish this book. I DNF'd it at 47% because it was not good. Not good. If I didn't even give this a star rating. One, because I feel like it's a little disingenuous, maybe, to put stars to a book that you haven't actually finished. And two, because if I did put a star rating, it would not be a good one. It would not be a good one. Lies We Sing to the Sea has a cool cover, obviously. Um, and it's like, how would I describe this? It's like a sequel to the Odyssey in that it happens after the events of the Odyssey and is influenced by what happens in the Odyssey. But the actual like cast of characters and the plot is completely separate and original, I guess. And so, like, the concept is the during the Odyssey, when Penelope is living her life being constantly annoyed by the suitors, her maids were there too, obviously. But then, for some reason, when Odysseus gets home, he's like, those maids were terrible, and let's kill them all. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna kill them all. But then, like, it causes this curse from Poseidon. For what reason, I don't know. Maybe it was explained later on in the book, but it was not really well thought through uh, in the first 47% of the book. This curse that, like, oh, that now they have to, like, keep sacrificing and killing girls. And the main character is one of those girls who is supposed to be killed but doesn't die. And then it's like a revenge story, kind of, where like she wants her revenge. And then there's also like the other section of it is the current prince of Ithaca is trying to find a way to solve the curse. The main character's name is Leto, which is a very pretty name. It is also a name that is also kind of famously claimed in Greek mythology, and we're just reusing it here. Okay. Okay. I feel like this book was a lot of stuff where it was like just little things that like I could have overlooked if everything else like held up, but everything else did not hold up. And so there's just all of this like sprawling number of like just little mm, mm, that really like took me out of the story. Um yeah, also I went into this with the understanding that it was sapphic. It kind of is, it's kind of not. And the sapphic relationship is not well built. Like, when you get to like the midway point of a book, I feel like you should have at that point a clear understanding of your main character and their motives. I feel like you should have a semi-solid understanding of the world and the world building behind it. And you should have a good direction, at least, to where the plot is going. And this kind of had a direction where the plot was going, kind of. The world building was incredibly vague. I think it relies on the audience knowing the Odyssey and knowing Greek mythology, and doesn't actually put forth its own like structures into the world. And then the main character, she's not interesting. She has weird conflicting feelings on things that I feel like you shouldn't have conflicting feelings about. Yeah, so it didn't meet that requirement for me either. Yeah, it just wasn't, I was not enjoying it. And so I was like, oh, well, I don't like DNFing things. Maybe I will go online and look at some like other reviews that other people have made to see like what other people are thinking. And there's a lot of people who did not like this book. So I felt a bit better. And one of the things that multiple people raised in their reviews is that apparently I have not fact checked this, but multiple people said it in their reviews that apparently the author admitted to not having finished reading the Odyssey, like, aka the source material the story is based and inspired on. And she didn't finish reading it because it was too dense. So that was all I really needed to hear. I heard that and I was like, okay, I'm not finishing this book. I'm not doing that to myself. Yeah. Disappointing. But to be honest, it's not as disappointing as like other disappointments have been because I didn't have that high of expectations. I had fairly low expectations and we still didn't meet those. So yeah, Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood, not my favorite. At the bottom of my 17 books. So I'm still kind of worked up about it, honestly. Usually for me, if I'm going to DNF, I do it very quickly. In the beginning. And then like if I make it past the beginning, I usually will try to finish the book. But this one I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. This book was nothing like my favorite book. Let's change topics now. Let's talk about my favorite book. So my favorite book this year, well, let me name the two runner-ups to my favorite book. That would be The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. Really good. I liked that one a lot. And The Safekeep by Yael van der Woden, I hope. Those two books, I really liked those two books. Those were good. But my favorite is going to be Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. This is about a Cambridge professor who studies fairies and the Fey worlds. And the set of the book is basically she's going on a research trip for fairies. That's great. I love that. So she's going into this like super northern, Arctic Circle-ish village on this island. And actually, is it on an island? She's going to this village. And she's going there specifically to look for the fairies that are there. She's documenting all different fairy types and behaviors and locations and stuff like that for the encyclopedia she's writing, as mentioned in the title. And yeah, and so she thinks that there might be this like really rare kind of fairy, not in the village, but like in the land surrounding it, that she's hoping to encounter and catalog and research. It's definitely a light book, like tone wise, I guess. It's not dark and serious by any means. And while I do like dark and serious books, I also like well written light books. Yeah, so first of all, the main character, Emily, is so autism coded. From what I can tell, that wasn't the intention of the author. But like, like as an autistic person, like reading this, I'm like, oh, my dear, you have some traits. Yeah. So even if that wasn't purposeful, I really liked that aspect. She is, she's much more comfortable doing her studies and walking through the wilds and the mountains and doing all that than she is talking to people, which is incredibly relatable. Good for her. This one, I feel like the only other plot thing I would mention is that she has a academic rivalry with another professor. And that professor also plays a large role in the book. He's one of the main characters. And I was like, he was okay. He was okay. I think the strongest point of this book was the world building, I would say. Characters were okay. Plot was okay. As we got towards the end of it, I was like, I wasn't as like loving it as much. It wasn't bad. I just wasn't as into it. But the world building for sure is the highlight of this, and I love a book with good world building. Yeah, so I gave this 5 stars. I gave this the ultimate 5-star rating. I have not. There's 2 sequels so far. I have not read either of them. I want to, but the wait at the library is really, really long, and the physical copies of the books that I've seen at like Barnes and Noble, they have the like bookend the pages where they're like all slightly different lengths. Do I have an example? Like it's not just like a smooth book. You know? It's like layers and it's texture, and I don't like the texture, so I don't want the physical copy. Yeah. it's like it's one of those things where like I'm trying to convince myself that like it's not that big of a deal. I don't actually care that much. And then every time I like have to touch the pages, I'm like, ugh, I didn't like that. Ugh, didn't like that at all. So I'm going to just sit here and wait for the book to come in on my Libby app, my library app. And it's gonna be a long wait. Um I let's see, do I have any other thoughts on this book? Oh, there is a romance. Well, it was okay, I guess. I don't really have much else to say for that. I am not really I don't really read books for the romance in them. Um, but it was fine. It was fine in this book. I felt like it didn't take anything away from it. Um, yeah, best book I read this year or last year. It's 2026 now. My goal for this year is going to be 20 books, and we'll see. We'll see if I can do that. It's it's not that I don't have books to read. I do have books to read that I really want to read. And it's not that I don't have the time to read, because despite school, I do, well, we'll see how the semester goes. But I do have time to read. It's just the stupid depression. The stupid depression making me uninterested in everything. And then I waste valuable time that could be spent reading books. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm fist fighting the depression, but it's 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 strong. It's holding up in this fight, and I am getting tired. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Just a little video about my favorite and least favorite. I would love in this coming year to actually post about the books that I'm reading instead of posting like once every 3 years or something. So we'll see how that goes. And then, yeah, that's something I definitely want to like put more effort into, of making like these videos based on the books I'm reading. Um, do I have anything I'm reading right now? No. I have like 4 books on loan from the library right now, and I haven't started any of them. So maybe that's what I will be doing as soon as I finish editing this video. And editing doesn't take me very long because I don't do anything interesting in these videos. Good and bad, right? Yeah. I don't think I have anything else. I will let you, the internet at large, know if I read a particularly good book. And yeah, so hopefully I will see you in another video.